Hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Voices. If you came here for a burst of hype or a list of tricks that fades by tomorrow, you're in the wrong place. This message is meant to last. It's a quiet conversation between your present self and your future self, the version of you who can hold a conversation in English without translating, who feels steady in the gym, who wakes up with purpose and ends the day proud. The bridge between those two selves isn't talent, luck, or secret hacks. It is the simplest, least glamorous, most life-changing habit in the world: consistency. For years people have told themselves 1,000 stories. I'm not disciplined, I don't have time, I need the perfect plan, I'll start when life calms down. Those stories feel true in the moment, but they collapse under one fact: you are not measured by what you intend to do, you are shaped by what you repeatedly do. The good news is that consistency is not a personality trait you either have or don't. It's a system you can design, a muscle you can train, and a promise you can keep, especially on the days you would rather not. Let's start with a mistake almost everyone makes. When we're fed up with being stuck, we reach for intensity. We cram. We go all in for one dramatic session and then disappear. 8 hours of English on a Sunday, nothing for 10 days. A heroic 3-hour workout, then a week of excuses. A perfect journal entry, then blank pages for the rest of the month. It feels powerful to go hard once, it is transformational to go gently again and again. Your brain doesn't learn through explosions of effort, it learns through signals repeated in a stable rhythm. Your body doesn't grow through punishment, it grows through recovery and routine. Your character isn't built by rare grand gestures, it is forged by small, faithful actions that no one else sees. If you want a mental picture, imagine 2 runners on a long road. One sprints, collapses, checks their phone, starts again, stops again. The other moves at a steady pace, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, but never quits. A month later the second runner is far down the highway. That's the difference consistency makes, it compounds. Consistency isn't a feeling. It's not the electric surge you get after an inspiring video. Consistency is a schedule you respect and a standard you live by. It's the choice to show up because you said you would. Motivation is a mood, moods are weather, weather changes. Discipline is a decision, decisions can be honored regardless of weather. If you only study when you feel like it, you'll study less and less. If you decide you are the kind of person who studies anyway, your feelings will start to cooperate with that identity. Do not wait for the spark to appear before you begin, and the spark will appear while you work. People ask, how do I keep the fire alive? The answer isn't to constantly chase brighter flames. The answer is to place wood on the fire every day at the same time so the flame never has a chance to die. One of the easiest ways to make this real is to anchor your habits to time and place. Your brain loves patterns more than promises. If your practice happens, whenever, it happens almost never. Choose a window and defend it like it matters, because it does. Morning, afternoon, evening, it doesn't matter, what matters is that it becomes a landmark in your day. Pair it with a location that your mind begins to associate with focus. A corner of the table. A chair by the window. A quiet space in the library. Then wrap that time and place in a tiny ritual. Brew a cup of tea, put your phone face down across the room, take 3 slow breaths, press play on a listening exercise, open a notebook to a fresh page. These cues do something subtle and powerful. They tell your nervous system, this is what we do here. Over a few weeks, the sequence becomes automatic. You stop negotiating with yourself because there's nothing to negotiate. It's simply the hour when you practice who you're becoming. I've seen this pattern change people who thought nothing could change. Ava wanted to speak English comfortably in meetings. She had tried flashcards and weekend marathons and long breaks full of guilt. Then she redesigned the environment. Every weekday at 7:10 a.m., at the same kitchen chair, with the same ceramic mug warm in her hands, she did a tight 20 minutes, 5 minutes of listening without pausing, 5 minutes of echoing phrases out loud, 10 minutes of retelling the gist in her own words while recording a voice memo. Some days she was energized, some days she was hoarse and quiet, all days she showed up. At first the results were invisible, just a string of small efforts. But 3 weeks in she noticed her mouth moving sooner, her ears catching nuance, her confidence landing before her doubt. 6 weeks in she didn't need the timer because the body remembered. 12 weeks in her colleague asked, "Did you take a course?" She smiled. The course was consistency. Of course, even with anchors and rituals, real life will knock you over. You will get sick, you will travel, your child will wake at midnight, your workload will spike, your focus will fail. The question that separates people who change from people who stay the same is not, can you be perfect? It is, how quickly do you return after you fall? Missing once is part of being human. Missing twice is a pattern forming. The moment after the miss is when identity is decided. If you tell yourself a dramatic story, "I've blown it, I'm terrible, I'll restart next month," you build the habit of postponement. If instead you whisper a calmer story, "I fell, I'm standing up now, I'll do a shorter session today and protect tomorrow," you build the habit of return. Leo, a developer who wanted to write daily in English, failed every time he aimed for an hour. Then he made a new rule: if I miss a day, the next day I'll write 3 sentences before breakfast. No exceptions, no shame. That little clause changed everything. Because his comeback was guaranteed, his streaks grew longer and his setbacks grew shorter. The secret wasn't force, it was a forgiving structure that made quitting harder than continuing. Before you call yourself lazy, examine your load. Inconsistency often hides inside overload. We carry too many priorities, then blame our character when we drop them. Your brain wakes up with a finite battery and spends it on tiny choices. What do I do first? Which task matters most? Should I reply or ignore, scroll or start, snack or stretch? Decision after decision drains energy before you ever touch the real work. The fix isn't to yell at yourself louder. The fix is to simplify. Choose one focus per season. 90 days is long enough to make a dent and short enough to remain vivid. For the next 3 months, you might declare, "My main thing is English speaking," or "My main thing is building my YouTube channel," or "My main thing is sleep quality." You'll still live your life, but your top slice of energy goes to that one outcome. Then create a simple daily plan on a single page, the top 3 actions that actually move the needle. Keep a parallel, not to-do, list. Don't open social media before noon, don't schedule meetings during your practice hour, don't multitask during deep work. This isn't punishment, it's protection. You remove friction from the right actions and add friction to the wrong ones. Suddenly the day feels lighter, not because you're working less, but because you're choosing less. There's another shift that matters more than any tactic: stop chasing goals and start building identity. Goals can be useful, they give direction. But goals are fragile when life gets messy. Identity is sturdier. When you define yourself by actions you repeat, you reduce the effort needed to repeat them. There's a difference between, "I hope to speak English fluently," and "I'm the kind of person who practices speaking daily." One lives in the future and needs constant reminders. The other lives in the present and guides choices automatically. If you wake up and say, "I'm a learner who shows up," it becomes natural to do what learners do. Identity isn't a sentence you write once, it is a vote you cast with small actions. 5 minutes of shadowing is a vote. One recorded monologue is a vote. Reading aloud a page is a vote. 20 votes in a row feels like momentum, 100 votes feels like you. Humans struggle to trust what they cannot see. That's why tracking helps so much. It turns invisible growth into visible evidence. You may not feel better after 12 listening sessions, but a calendar with 12 bold marks tells the truth. You may not hear yourself clearly in real time, but a dated folder of voice notes proves your mouth is moving and your rhythm is settling. Keep it simple: a wall calendar and a marker, a notes app with a daily checkbox, a tiny spreadsheet with the date, the practice, the length, and a one-line reflection. At the end of the week, skim the sheet and ask 3 questions. When did I feel most focused? What made me miss? What will I adjust next week? These micro-reviews teach you faster than any guru because they're powered by your own reality. After a month, you've built not only a habit, but a map of how that habit fits your life. If your environment fights your goals, you will lose eventually. Willpower is a precious resource. Use it to design a space that doesn't demand it later. Make the good action obvious and easy. Keep your notebook open, your headphones coiled on the desk, the tab with your practice video pinned, your phone's distractions out of reach. If you must use your phone, banish the noisiest apps from the home screen or log out so opening them costs a little friction. Lay out your study tools before you sleep so the morning asks nothing of you except to sit and start. If you share a space, negotiate a quiet pocket with the people you love. Let them see you protect this hour and ask them to respect it. They might even join you with their own quiet work. And if noise is unavoidable, train with it sometimes. Real life is rarely silent, and part of fluency is being able to think in motion. There is a story I love to tell because it keeps proving itself true. Noor, a nurse who worked unpredictable shifts, believed she couldn't build any routine. She tried and failed until she designed floating anchors. On every workday, she picked one of 2 pre-approved practice slots, either 40 minutes before a shift or 30 minutes right after, at the same chair, in the same corner, with the same tiny ritual of peppermint tea and deep breathing. She also created an emergency microversion for chaos days, 5 minutes of whisper shadowing while brushing her hair or packing her bag. That 5 minutes felt too small to count, but she counted it anyway. Months later, during a hard week, she pulled out her tracker and saw 6 months of marks with no blank rows. Consistency wasn't the absence of interruption. It was the art of continuing through interruption. Let's talk about English itself for a moment because consistency feeds on clarity. A simple practice loop can carry you farther than a complicated curriculum you abandon. Try this 3-step cycle most days: understand, echo, retell. First, play a short piece once without pausing and let your ears do their job. You're listening for who, where, and why, the big picture, not every syllable. Second, play it again and echo out loud a beat behind the speaker, matching melody, stress, and pace. Don't worry about perfect mimicry, you're training your mouth to move at speed. Third, close your eyes and retell what you understood in your own words for 60 to 90 seconds. Record it. Tomorrow, review yesterday's attempt for 30 seconds, smile at the awkward parts, and do the new one better. That's it. The loop is small enough to repeat and rich enough to build muscle. Over weeks you will hear yourself hesitate less and shape sentences with less friction because your mental operating system is updating in the background. You might wonder, what about bad days, the ones where the voice in your head is loud and mean? You'll have them. Everyone does. On those days, don't argue with the voice. Shorten the session, lower the bar, and collect the vote. If your plan was 20 minutes, do 5. If your task was retelling, read a paragraph aloud. If even that feels heavy, sit in your practice chair, open your notebook, and write a single line. I keep my promise. This isn't symbolic, it's strategic. You keep the groove in the record so the needle finds it tomorrow. The point of a habit is not to impress other people, it's to become predictable to yourself. People often ask for the perfect time to start. The perfect time is earlier than you think and simpler than you want. Take today and carve a first brick out of it. Name a time when you can protect 15 to 20 minutes. Set your place. Choose your ritual. Decide your loop. Tell a friend if accountability helps or keep it quietly sacred if that makes you stronger. Then show up. When you finish, mark the page one bold X, one sentence in a log, one audio file saved. Tomorrow, repeat. Expect resistance around day 4, boredom around day 12, doubt around day 20. Expect tiny bursts of pride around day 8, a surprising smoothness around day 15, and a new calm after day 30. Expect life to interrupt around day 22 and expect yourself to return on day 23. Do this, and you won't need me to convince you anymore, your own evidence will do the talking. There's a final perspective that matters. Consistency isn't only about outcomes, test scores, job offers, compliments from strangers. It's about who you become while you're practicing. When you show up for your plan, you start building a reputation with the person you spend every moment with, yourself. Each day you keep a promise, the conversation in your head changes. The old lines, "I never stick with anything, I always mess up, maybe I'm just not that type of person," begin to sound like what they are, outdated scripts. In their place, a quieter voice emerges, "I do what I said I would do." That voice is worth more than any certificate. It bleeds into how you speak to your family, how you carry yourself in rooms, how you approach problems that used to shrink you. Consistency doesn't just upgrade your skills, it upgrades your identity with proof you can feel. If you need a blueprint for the next 6 months, make it humble and honest. Month 1, establish the ritual and protect the slot. Don't chase progress, chase presence. If you practice, you win. If you miss, you return. Month 2, refine the loop. Use materials you enjoy, stories, podcasts, dialogues, and rotate them so curiosity stays alive. Keep recording, once a week, listen back for 60 seconds to hear growth you can't hear in real time. Month 3, extend your output. Join short conversations online or with a partner, or talk to yourself while walking, narrating what you see and think. Month 4, add deliberate trouble, faster audio, messier accents, noisier environments so your brain learns to handle turbulence. Month 5, tie your practice to purpose. Give a mini presentation at work, attend a community event, tutor a beginner. Month 6, audit and celebrate. Look at your logs, pick 3 moments that prove you've changed, and mark them with a small ritual, a letter to yourself, a dinner with someone who cheered you on, a new notebook for the next chapter. The plan is simple because simple survives. What if you're listening and thinking, "But my life is complicated, children, shifts, responsibilities, a mind that won't quiet down." That's exactly why consistency is your friend. It replaces the chaos of feelings with the calm of patterns. It allows a demanding life to hold one steady string that runs through every day, a string you can grasp when things shake. You will not control every hour. You can control this one ritual. You will not control the speed of your progress. You can control the existence of your progress. And slowly, what used to feel like a burden becomes a refuge. Your practice becomes the simplest part of your day because it asks nothing flashy, just this: sit down, breathe, begin. I want to speak to the moment you're tempted to drift back to old habits. You'll know it by the familiar lines, "I'm too tired, I'll double tomorrow, one day off won't matter." When that moment arrives, remember what one day actually means. It's not the minutes you skip, it's the message you send. Either you tell your mind, we only act when we feel good, or you tell it, we act because we chose this identity. Choose the second message more often than not and watch what it does to your sense of self. There is nothing magical about people who keep promises to themselves. They just practice keeping them until it feels weird not to. If you've listened this far, it's because something in you is done with starting over. Good. Let this be the day you stop hunting for the perfect plan and start honoring a simple one. Let this be the day you trade fireworks for candles that burn steadily. Let this be the day you become the kind of person who shows up. One day the results will be obvious to everyone else: the fluent conversation, the calmer body, the focused mind, but the real miracle will be something quieter, the trust you've rebuilt with yourself. Consistency will be how you got there. You'll look back and realize the path wasn't a single heroic leap, it was thousands of normal steps taken on abnormal days. If this message helped even a little, consider subscribing to Daily English Voices and sharing it with someone who needs a steady hand. Not for numbers, but because communities of consistent people change each other. We notice one another's quiet work, we refuse to let one another quit, and we remind each other that small efforts add up in ways we can't see yet. Wherever you are right now, in a kitchen before dawn, on a bus after a long shift, on a balcony as the city hums, take a breath. Choose the smallest next step. Put another vote in the box. Let today be one more page in a long, honest story about who you are becoming. And tomorrow, when the hour arrives, meet yourself again in the same place, with the same ritual, and begin.